Oof. Good morning, brother. Yo, we might just end this. I'm being honest. Oh, yeah, me either, honestly. Thought we'd get that high at least, but stay in the range. So if we're just gonna run, that might be tough to actually get anything this morning. We've got their half standard deviation. Highs only, baby. Highs only. Nah, we'll still might be able to get one. We'll give it a few. Maybe 15 minutes at least just to see. Already not liking it too much. At this point, we'd actually want to try to get short back into this new day opening gap, ideally. Yeah, monthly's insane. That's insane. So we'll watch here. As we said, I'd rather try to get short. It's less than likely, but we have our bullish suspension block here. So if we can invert the fair value gap, we'll try to get short off that. Back, yeah, honestly. Look at what we were in that for months. And then like nothing. See, right through that. One down close candle. That's legit, right? Not manipulated at all. I wanted to enter here. I had an entry set right away. We hold, we accelerate. So that's why I'd rather actually try to get short back into that. If we stay bullish, right, we're going to hold our bullish suspension block here and just stay bullish. If that's the case, we'll just watch. We'll let it run. Not necessarily trying to call a top, just want a short-term reversal at this point. If we can like trade into this 2 minute or this 1 minute, excuse me, and then we break structure through this wick, that'll turn the wick into a gap as well. And at that point, I wouldn't mind trying to be involved on a little bit higher price delivery. It's bullish. We're just going to stay bullish. So that's the breakaway. As we say, we'll look for half standard deviation. All-time highs are always tough because we just don't have much to aim for. We can project the most recent leg. 1, 2, 3, 3 standard deviations. We close above that wick. As we said, that kind of classifies that as our new discount. So if we want to stay extremely bullish, we hold that, hold this 1 minute, continue for half standard deviation here of our daily range. I'm gonna attempt this here. Yeah, 2 minute. If that 2 minute stays open, we will try just to capture the expansion. We'll expect price to stay extremely bullish here. So we have a 2 minute inefficiency here, right as we break structure. We'd rather see this 2 minute be left open at this point. Going pretty early, right away. But if we're going to stay bullish, might as well just be involved. We're aiming for, as we said, that's 3 standard deviations from the current high to low. So as we break that, right, how far can we go? That's a way to kind of gauge that. So we'll see there. A little over a 1 to 2. We're going to treat this, right, at this point, we want this fair value gap to be a breakaway. So that's why we're entering inside of the wick, 2 minute fair value gap here. We're looking to use. We get below that, and obviously we'll take the stop. You said we treat wicks as gaps. Right, same idea in NQ, especially a wick like this. That should turn into a rejection block. If we push through that, that becomes the discount. We see that hold perfectly. Down close candle anchored to that. So now body might just want to hold an NQ here. That's what we're seeing, right? If that's the case, volume bounce here in ES. And we'll just see expansion. If we get up into that third standard deviation, we'll just call it. We kind of expect this half standard deviation here of our daily range to try to hold in the short term. So as we hit that, we should see at least some pullback, right? The current expansion has been straight bullishness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 bullish candles in a row. So we'll look for a slight retracement and then a continuation of that expansion. No, it was ride or die. 5 minute inefficiency will be created here as well. All right, so that's why we're fine with that. We'll be entering on a 5 minute, 2 minute, 1 minute, 15 minute. But that's when we like overlapping PD race. That's why we're okay. Even though in theory, it might seem like we're chasing here because price is already extended. Clearing that wick kind of resets the PD array matrix. Right? So that should be the lowest discount. And if we get below that, we would expect more of a pullback anyway. Cool. So the 5 minute has now closed. We have the 5 minute inefficiency left open. Bullish volume balance. Ideally, we wick into the 5 minute, return to leave that volume imbalance open. Right, we often like heavy, aggressive candles into our entry because that turns into wicks. Or right, if we're off sides, it runs right through. So we always like speed into entry, regardless. There it is. We'll throw up the execution so you can see we're in with 2. That high gives us 8 already. Simple partial, especially on a Friday like this. So if we can get that high, we'll immediately partial one out. Matter of fact, we don't even need the actual external range. We go right at the candle body. That's 8 handles, plenty enough for us. If we get that, right, as we say, we'll go immediately to break even. We'll see if we can't get that final expansion higher. So now we've hit the 5-minute, right? We've hit the 2-minute. We'd want to see expansion away from here. Actually got a little bit of positive slippage as well. That's always nice. Cool. So swing low captured. That would be expected. We have a hidden volume imbalance here. That's going to be the issue for us, okay? We close here, we open bullish, all one-sided, negating the bullish volume imbalance. That's going to be the premium that wants to hold price if we cannot get through this high. So as we watch or trade up into that, we're going to have to be pretty, or just watch. Right? That's going to give us kind of a read on price delivery. If we can't even get up into there, and we see this low being closed below, we will expect stop loss at this point. So we catch the swing low, right? That's always good. And it's kind of the first thing we're always going to look for is a swing low, swing high entry. Now we just see if we're on sides. We'll be one and done today regardless. All right, Friday, first day of the month. If it's a winner, cool. If it's a loss, we'll walk away and take that. Right, so unable to get into the volume imbalance up here, we don't like because we're holding this inversion here. Lower premium, higher premium. If we're unable to get into higher premiums within the range and we're holding at the lower ones, that's just unfavorable for us if we want to see the expansion. Obviously, as we mentioned, straight bullish delivery here, we can expect consolidation like we see here. Right, so as we create these long up-close moves, extended bullishness, consolidation. Extended bullishness, we kind of expect some range bound delivery, but then ultimately we're looking for buy side. Right, so this is kind of where we expect high resistance delivery, but we're still holding on to our bias and trusting that. What's up, baby? Where you going? For a run. Oh, okay. What is that? That's crazy to me. Love you. Since we're only doing one trade, we might add one more and just go full risk today. 0.25%. I think we hold this wick regardless. Yeah, I don't mind that. So we're going to build a position here if it wants to give it. So if we want to run this low, right, we're going to hold on to the original bias as we said. Treat the wick here as the discount. If we're going to run that low, I think it'll just be a turtle soup to then break regardless. So we'll throw one more contract in, same stop loss, will get us to 0.25% risk fully. Right, that's our full risk. Since we're only doing one trade a day, we'll just go full risk right away. Wait, bars? Accidental bars. And if it doesn't give it to us, right, and we get partial, that's fine. We'll just go break even, secure the profits. As we said, body. Right, that body here is going to be what is the discount in NQ. Wicks you could look at, sure, but the body is actually going to tell the story. So the body should hold the body of NQ if we're going to try to get that high. We can wick all the way down into this wick again, but we'd want to see bodies remain. As we say, that inversion volume bounce here, an issue. First 2 times, bodies can't get through it. As we retest it again, right, that's worse. When we see price retest and we can't even get bodies near it, and the bodies continue to stay progressively below, it just goes against what we would want to see. So for the time being, right, we don't want that to be a swing high. If this becomes a swing high, just unfavorable for us. That did turn into a swing high. We would expect our second entry to be tagged. Oh, looking for the soup. I'm going to just hold the original discount. We'll see. Volume bounce, still the issue. Look at the precision there in NQ. There it is again. Yeah, that's a brick wall, boy. Shake. Price don't want to get through that, huh? You can do it, Price. I believe. Closure above that, more than likely we miss or we don't get the third contract, but that'll be okay. We say we're just looking for 8 handles plus plenty, partial out. Probably should take 5 ends model to end the day, but green on the week will demand a little bit more. Already with that, we're going to cut most of the risk out to this low. We're going to go break even actually to that low. That low should be protected. With how close we are here, if we come for that low, we don't want to be involved anyway. We don't want that entry. This is the framework now. So we'll look to partial out, see if we can get the full expansion. If somehow that ends up being the high and we get taken out here at this low, so be it. We'll call it. Once again, we have another volume bounce here. We close here, we open, no wick to the upside. That's why we're aiming for that high. But maybe we should aim for the low. Imagine we hit it perfectly. Plenty of times we've seen that not get taken out, but we trust we should deliver into it. Okay, spoke too soon. How about this? There you go. I'll just give it to you if you want it. So we partial. We're already break even. As we said, we're aiming for 3 standard deviations of the most recent dealing range. That's up here. At this point, this volume bounce should hold because we have the fair value up there. So that becomes the discount. We'll see if we can close above this or not here. Wick that high, so very easily this could be a reversal now. That's why we were on the partial there. Swing low to swing high. At this point, we would want to see this hold and true expansion through the equal highs now, breaking structure. We've already spent plenty of time consolidating that. If we're going to create the move, it should take place now like we've seen here. Right, we could have a few down close candles, but for the primary kind of movement, it should just be bullish candles. So if we see price continuing to get range bound, there's a good chance we'll try to kind of wander back down into our entry point. Like ideally at this point, no reason this volume bounce should be closed below again at all. We need to see expansion through this one, but that's going to be kind of what we would look for. Discounts to hold, premiums to get broken. We said that's pretty much max. We'd want to see it all. NQ actually got all the way back down into the body. So this is where we'd want to hold again. Bodies were hitting it the first time. We'd want to see bodies hovering away from it to show bullishness. So this is where we want full expansion ideally. And then NQ, if we're on NQ, we'd want to see this fair value gap being reclaimed. At the same time, seeing the break in structure there in ES, if we can close above that, this low should be protected. So we'll throw our stop loss. We'll move it up a little bit. As we said, if we see it getting stuck here, we just kind of expect sideways action. Yeah, okay. So NQ holds it. A little more telling. We might just want to stay range bound here. Really haven't gotten into the 5-minute at all. And we've created a 15-minute that we haven't traded into. So with our current entry, we're going to actually have to expect that to be left open on a higher time frame. Right, institutional order flow there. 15-minute has yet to even be traded into. So if on a higher time frame, we're going to want to give that retracement. We're obviously going to have to take this stop first. Right, we're looking for pretty much price to just repeat itself. Consolidation, expansion, consolidation, expansion, consolidation, expansion. Now that we've expanded, we look for the consolidation and another expansion. Over there. So when Q actually gets below the body for the first time, we'll see if we get negation. That'd be even stronger than just staying below it. Right, closing below, being able to now reclaim that level, closing back above, we should see that expansion. If we actually hold that, however, may actually want to get a little deeper into this range. Same idea, right? We said this low should be protected, should not be closing below the volume balance. Because we are getting sideways, we do expect now this to be hit a few times, high resistance. Original bias still will be held though. At this point, 3 equal highs here. 1, 2, 3. As we engage that, if it's a wick, we'll just expect price to stay in that range and probably come for this low. If somehow we can get displacement, we'll actually move our stop at that point. So there's that negation, right? Which we do like that. I wouldn't mind a little scalp like that in NQ. Should hold that, run bullish. Another pass of that hidden volume imbalance. See what we want. Fourth equal high. Yep. Perfect. Wick or closure above. Right, that's rejection. So we now expect, if this closes below the volume imbalance, I would expect midpoint or this low to try to be cleared too. Seek and destroy. Okay. So at this point, if we see price making a pass or any attempt lower, we would expect this volume imbalance will just bounce in between. Probably just caught in the consolidation. We have a great entry though, so that's why we're fine. Great entry, great stop loss in profit. We've already secured profits as well. As you say, negation in NQ is pretty telling actually. This should expand. It didn't even give the retracement, so we would have missed that. Target has been hit. But as far as narrative, this is giving us what we want to see. Creating the wick, pushing through the wick would be best case scenario because that would be a discount being created. Look at midpoint. Midpoint is the high of the volume imbalance. Perfect. Okay, so at this point, midpoint of this wick should be safe. This low really should not be cleared. We should be done there. We should expand and run from here. So we're going to go all the way there. That low is protected. This discount should be all. If we need to make an attempt, this candle's body should hold. So that's the max we're giving as far as a retracement here. Good morning, brother. SMT. We'd love to see Six Sister. If NQ can stay bullish and just blast through this high, ES should just continue to expand. As we said, if we zoom out, we're inside of the consolidation. We've consolidated, expanded, consolidated here. We're looking for now the expansion. This discount becomes all we'd want to see with the bodies. Anything below that, we're fine taking the stop here. It's been good so far, brother. 2 losses, but winners outpace. Green on the week. And now with this, we'll be well in profit. Perfect. That should be a swing low. If it closes there anyways, right? If we see this candle body holding above the wick, ideally this turns into a swing low. If this candle body has to close back inside, we'll look for this fair value gap here. The expectation would now be from this low that we don't see many down close candles. So right, if we're going to create one like we see here, we would want that to be the swing low and see quick expansion through a high breaking structure, because then that creates new discounts. So create a new discount there. That would stay as a protected low. And we would just continue to push. If that's the case, more than likely, I'm just going to put stop there. Right, we'll secure ourselves pretty much another ends model. That'll be what? Yeah, 7 handles. So we'll put our stop there. Because at that point, we'll be very in profit. So any stop loss will be fine for us. Potential rejection block. This is what we want to see being broken. We don't want that to hold and make an attempt for the low. If we see that, high chance we return into the range and consolidation continues. This high to low is balanced here, which is why we don't want to see a deep retracement. It's like that, less than ideal. We would want to see what we saw here in NQ, negation. If we're going to close below this, This candle needs to return above it, or as we say, we're going to return into this range, and more than likely, we just revisit this low. So we'll see what we get here. This one candle will be pretty telling. Rejection block held at the top. Said retesting the original fair value gap. When discounts fail, next discount, right? That's kind of the objective there. What we're looking at, wick is 1 with this volume balance. Fair value gap is 2nd. Volume balance is 3rd and last line of defense. If all 3 fail, that's why we're fine taking the stop. I don't think we're going to get the negation we want to see. That's more confirmation. So there's a good chance we're going to want to get back into that range now. Look for the stop. Yeah, pure ES for me. We always have NQ up. A lot of the people in my group like to trade NQ as well. But nah, NQ's or ES is my baby. Just a lot more precise, in my opinion. Right, you can get 2.5 handle stops. You ain't doing that in NQ. Baby, what are you doing? All right, so this has to now expand and reclaim this discount turn premium, because now that's a pretty strong premium there. Same idea there in NQ. We actually made a suspension block. That's pretty bearish. We might want to actually break a lower here. Suspension block and the fair value gap. Double premium. Oh, nice shove. Glad you find them useful. Yeah, we live on the lower time frame, that's for sure. As far as executions, anyway. We're still under the assumption that the higher time frame has to have this be a breakaway for now. So we'll see how this 15-minute closes. Ideally, it closes bullish. If we see it closing bearish, that might turn into a short-term swing high to return into this inefficiency. Right now, that volume balance is becoming a premium. That's not what we wanted to see. And we've closed inside the inefficiency for the first time. So good chance we're going to run for that low now. And just come into equilibrium of the current low to high. Take the midpoint. We're hitting that. We want to see that hold. Less than equilibrium. Stop loss. As we said, suspension block with inversion fair value gap. That's pretty strong premium. Good chance it tries to send NQ lower. Third and last line of defense, volume imbalance. See if it can do its job. Cool. So we get stopped there at the swing low. And that'll be all for us today. So we end the day with another nice little swing low to swing high before we get stopped there and profit. We're very content with that, right? Zoom out. We've already expanded an outrageous amount. So at this point, honestly, retracement here wouldn't be bad at all. If we can get below that fair value gap, turn this into a bearish breaker. A lot of room to the downside, especially with it being Friday. Right, little TGIF. Where we at on the weekly? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I could see we pull back into the range wouldn't be bad at all. That is juicy. That held very good there. Textbook suspension block. And Q will probably lead the way all the way. Yeah, we got a nice little continuation there to end it. We'll see if we get that low. This wick could still hold, to be honest. But like if we fell through that wick, we should get a decent pullback, I'd assume, at least. We'd expect like a full closure of this 15-minute. But yeah, that'll be it for us. I'm just chilling, kind of looking now. Could also just be wicking this low to create the next bullish move. Right, end up inverting this fair value gap and then run bullish pretty aggressively. That should hold. We look pretty heavy here, actually. Morning range high was put in place here. So if we want to just even return into morning range low, what's that? That's going to be, yeah, here. So we have quite a lot of room. I actually would expect this fair value gap. I think we want to fall through the wick. I'd look for this inefficiency here. Equilibrium of the range. And Q gets below that again. Yeah. We'll leave it there, though. If you're going to be around, I like the idea of getting lower. For us, we're content. All right, quick recap, as we had mentioned. Come into the morning, see that we're pretty bullish. Right, we consolidate, we expand away at 9:30. We create some consolidation, clearing short-term lows, create a large expansion again, turning this wick into a fair value gap. Right, as we clear these wicks, we look at that as inefficiencies. We do that leaving a small 1 minute there. That 1 minute was also a 2 and 5 minute. So a lot of confluence with higher time frame fair value gaps also. That becomes entry. Stop loss just below wick. We were aiming for that third standard deviation, seeing if we could stay more bullish. Instead, as we get entered here, right, we're able to cut risk pretty quickly. We partial out at that volume imbalance. And then we end up getting stopped there at break even. We're actually in profit, well in profit. At this point, as we say, I think we get bearish here, returning at least into this inefficiency. Holding that fair value gap, bearish breaker. Oh, there it is right there. Below that, we have midpoint of the range. Yeah, have yourselves a good weekend. For those in the Discord, we'll be back on, let me just check the calendar quick. It'll be Tuesday, so no news on Monday again. Right, we're going to let that play out. Come back Tuesday at 9:55. There'll probably be a Tuesday through Friday stream again. So yeah, have yourselves a good weekend. Stay safe. Discord members, we will talk on Tuesday morning. See you guys then.